Selling any product is a tug of war between establishing realistic expectations versus painting a picture of a miracle cure-all. It's the tension created by what the item for sale is versus what you want the customer to believe it can be. It's the choice between stating the boring but true facts or telling an amazing story about alien monster action figures created from the strangest stuff on Earth with the power to be torn apart, reassembled, and returned to their original shape. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the willful deceit of Manglors.
Throughout time, people have asked, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Maybe it was a Manglor, like Manglor Demon. You can pretend to hatch Manglor Dragon and Manglizard, too, each sold separately in a make-believe egg. You can stretch them, squash them, take them apart. They'll return almost like new to their original forms. So if you want to hatch up some fun, you can crack open a Manglor. The Manglors, Manglor Demon, Manglor Dragon, and Manglizard, each sold separately from Ideal.
Manglors is a series of self-described alien action figures from Ideal Toys that first arrived on shelves in 1984. You probably remember Ideal as the folks who brought you Betsy Wetsy, the Evel Knievel Stunt Cycle, and the Rubik's Cube. Unlike most 80s brands, there was no cartoon, comic, or any other supporting media of any kind. Manglors barely had a mythology to hold the whole thing together. See, there's a harsh volcanic planet on the other side of the galaxy orbiting the giant red star Betelgeuse. Beetlejuice? The one humanoid character, Manglord, is a ferocious warrior chieftain and master of survival. Survival which essentially boils down to avoiding conflicts with the other two figures in Wave 1, Manglosaurus and Manglodactyl. And, not for nothing, but if that's the measure of survival mastery, then a master of survival I too am. Wave 2 added 3 more monsters with Manglo Dragon, Manglizard, and Manglo Demon. Still no Manglady, but at least Manglord has Manglor Mountain, a place to hang out at and or be tortured. I'm not totally clear on that. It's less like a fortress, more like a dunk tank full of red slime, aka Manglava. While billed as action figures, Manglors featured no articulation. They were molded, stretchy slabs with shape memory. Crumple them, twist them, tear them apart, and reattach the limbs. The material they were made from, that was the real gimmick, the selling point for the whole thing. That material was sorbothane, which is, according to Wikipedia, quote, a solid polymer that behaves like a quasi-liquid, being readily deformed by an applied force and slow to recover, although in the absence of such a force, it takes up a defined shape and volume. The feel and dampening qualities of sorbothane have been likened to those of meat. Sorbothane exhibits properties of both liquids and solids with a relaxation time of 2 seconds. Surprise, this is now a History of Sorbothane video.
The reason that sorbothane works is that it's viscoelastic. It distorts very easily and has a slow and retarded recovery, but yet, as you see, it recovers perfectly.
Ideal had its gimmicks, sorbothane, the strangest stuff on Earth, made into a line of toys that could not be destroyed. Weird alien monsters from a planet near Betelgeuse that was so inhospitable that the native species had evolved in such a manner as to be able to recompose their bodies after tragic structural failure. And that's what they chose to sell. Tear your toys apart, put them back together as if nothing had ever happened. Perhaps Ideal was a bit overzealous in the manner with which they chose to sell the concept of reattaching the torn apart limbs. Being able to assemble detached parts into new monstrous creations and still being able to return all of your figures back to almost like new condition depends on the phrase almost like new doing all the work. Because the reality was that while smushing and stretching didn't affect the integrity of the toy, and it would return to the original shape, tearing off the limbs was permanent damage. There was a short period of time, seconds at best, after removing a piece of a Manglor where the internal adhesive properties would allow for reattachment, but not with the same strength as if that piece had never been torn off. It did not take long for everyone to figure out that what Ideal claimed to be selling was not what Ideal was actually selling. Kids could see it, parents could see it, organized consumer protection groups that lobbied government legislators could see it. A group called the Consumer Affairs Committee of the Americans for Democratic Action, or the CAC of the ADA, released an annual list of toys that they rated as being good buys or bad buys for 1984. Quality of the toy, value for the price, etc. The CAC for the ADA rated Manglors not only one of the messiest toys of 1984, but put Manglors and Manglor Mountain at the number 1 and 2 bad buy spots, beating out Knickerbocker's infamous E.T. Fingerlight and Kenner's Baby Alive doll. The doll that actually poops. The doll that actually shits itself. The doll that always has diarrhea. Manglors were worse than that. In the words of the CAC of the ADA, quote, "What they don't tell you is, unless you reattach the parts in the exact place they were torn off from, they won't reattach at all. After tearing off the Manglosaurus in several places, our child testers couldn't remember where all the sticky, gooey pieces went, which left them with a handful of meaningless blobs. Hashtag wrecked." At the same time, a magazine called Penny Power, the children's edition of Consumer Reports, a magazine focused on formal product testing and review, came to a similar conclusion regarding Ideal's promises about the play power of Manglors. But it was all just piling on since Ideal's marketing message had already been seen for the overpromise that it was, because everyone who bought them had already ripped their Manglors apart and then threw them away with no interest in a second figure, much less a second wave. Manglors were a toy line with a gimmick that overpromised and underdelivered, from the stunning box art to the futuristic materials that they were made from, to the play pattern that separated them from their competitors. Manglors missed their chance to be a truly unique brand from one of the oldest toy companies in the business, instead of what they became, a 1980s oddity. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. Make sure you hit the notifications bell to guarantee that you will be notified whenever we post a new video. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy. Share this video and let us know in the comments down below what your Manglors alignment is. I like to think I'm a little bit Manglodon, a little bit Manglo Dragon. You can see it, right? The Manglo Dragon is from my father's side. God.